Hey, this is Jewel Tanker from the Jewel Tanker Show on Impact Network every Saturday. Or you can check out me and my family, the Tankers, on Prime Amazon or Chatter Talk Show on Fox Soul with my girls, Dr. Dee Dee Freeman, Monique, Eilert Mosley, Real Talk Kim, and Holly Carter. And you are watching Rude Rangers TV.
The views and opinions expressed during this program are entirely those of the show's hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of Rude Rangers Entertainment, its investors, management, advertisers, or staff. Don't sue us, y'all. We don't have any money.
Hey, love bugs, and welcome to Dear Daughter. Hope you guys had an absolutely fabulous day. Mine was wonderful because I'm alive and I'm here with you. So that brings me happiness all the time. I want to talk to you today about hitting the wall. And many of you may think of hitting the wall as an obstacle is in your way, or you've come to the end of something that you wanted to do, and unfortunately you can't do it. You look at a wall as a place of stopping, not having the ability to go forward. But I want to show you through Hezekiah that hitting the wall has nothing to do with stopping at all. How many times has it been that you may have put yourself in a position and you felt you couldn't get out? Or how many times you were in a position and you didn't do anything to get there? You just happened to be there, and now you're struggling, saying, why am I here? What has happened to me? What did I do to deserve this? Or what did I do to come to this place? Well, King Hezekiah, cut. All right. King Hezekiah was one of the greatest kings that, that land had besides King David. He was faithful. He was loyal. He loved God. And God showed him mercy, and God showed him grace and favor. He took over the reign from his father. He was only 14, and his father really wasn't the greatest king at all. And Hezekiah came in at 14 years old and restored back to the land what it was needed. And that was prayer, and that was worship, and just understanding God a little bit more. Here it is. Now Hezekiah is 39, and he's been ruling, and he's been doing good. And he is struck with an illness. When I did research, they said, well, it was some type of inflammation. It was a boil. Whether it was inflammation, whether it was a boil, it doesn't make a difference. The word said that he was sadly sick. Now, there's one thing to be sick. Now, to be sadly sick, that is totally something different. The poor man was miserable. And the word says he was struck sick to try him. God wanted to test him, try him, see what was in his heart. See, if stuff is going good, it is easy to smile. It is easy to do all of the stuff you need to do. But soon as trouble hits or sickness hits, trust and believe. Doing what you're supposed to do becomes one of the hardest things ever. If you've never been sick, trust me, you don't want to be. And you still have to do, and you still have to believe. It is very hard. I have been there. I had 4 major operations in 2 years. And some days it was very hard to continue to believe that, God was blessing me, especially when you're up in the air 37,000 feet and your whole stomach feels like it's getting ready to explode. You are rushed to the hospital. They give you some medicine, your stomach calms down, you're sent home, and you're starting a new job that same day. So you're like, oh, I'll get a little rest. I'm feeling okay. And I'll get up in time to go to work. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, the pain kills you so much, it throws you off the bed. You have to call your mother to come take you to the hospital. And then you're told that not only do you have to go in for emergency surgery, you need 3 to 5 pints of blood. And we hope we have your blood type. My mom's not my blood type. My dad is, and my dad is gone. So I was at a point where it wasn't hard for me to pray, because I just start spitting out scriptures, even if I have problems praying, because that's just who I am. And the blood transfusion was the problem for me, because I've worked in the HIV field for many, many years. And I know that I could come in contact with tainted blood. Even though things have gotten better, in the back of my mind, that was one of my worries. So I thank God for my mom, who's a praying woman and prayed me through that time. I had hit a wall. I felt as though there was a stopping point. This operation, if it didn't work, I wasn't getting off the table. I was going to die. What was I going to do? I had to believe God, even when I didn't want to believe. You've heard the scripture, God, Lord, I believe, forgive my unbelief. In my believing, there was still a little bit in the back of my mind. So here it is, Hezekiah. He has this inflammation. He's sick unto death. And a prophet comes to tell him, get your stuff in order, bruh, because God said you're going to die. Whatever you have to do, you got to do it now, because you're going to die. Here he is, 39 years old. He became king at 14. So you're ruling a whole nation at 14. There's a whole lot he didn't get to do. If you look at it in modern day time, he didn't play high school basketball. He probably did not go to college. He didn't get a chance to flirt. All the stuff that someone in their teenage years would do. He didn't get a chance to. Why? Because at 14, he was put on a throne and he said, you have to rule this nation. A lot of stuff on a little kid's head, So here it is. He ruled well, and I'm sick unto death, and my faith is not there. But I'm trying to still believe. And here comes your prophet to tell me, check this out, bruh, you dying. Get your stuff in order, because your life is done. And what did Hezekiah do? Hezekiah turned to the wall. He hit the wall, started praying. Tears started flowing. And he's asking God to heal his body. He's telling God, do you know what I've done? I've done this, and I've done that, and I've done this, and I did it, Lord, for you, because that's what you commanded me to do. There's a lot of times we go through life doing what we're supposed to do, and trouble hits. What do? You hit that wall just like Hezekiah. So you may ask, well, why did Hezekiah turn towards the wall? Well, if the man was definitely sick, I don't think he was standing. I think I'm pretty good in a good place to say he was in his bed. And that wall was probably by his bed. And when I did research, that's what the research said. He turned in his bed towards the wall and started to pray and cry. And why would he turn towards the wall? It's very possible there were people in the room, because he was, sick unto death. He probably had people taking care of him, people trying to console him, somebody trying to give him water, some chicken, some something, to make him feel better. And he turned towards the wall so he could be in a private space with God. I got to tell you, a lot of your problems could leave instantaneously if you find a private space with God. Just to go to God and speak to him. Because if you're in trouble, who would better know how to remove you from that trouble than the one who created you? When I'm in trouble, And I liken myself to David. I'm always in trouble, always forgiven. God forgive me. I try my best. But I go to God and say, hey, honestly, I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Forgive me. Can you please get me out of this? Show me how to walk through this. And if I have to take the punishment, can you please give me your grace and mercy so that when I come out of it, there's a blessing waiting for me. If you have a connection with God, you can do that. It's just like your own parents. You may get in trouble with your mom, your dad, right? I'm 60. My mom still gets mad at me. I still get in trouble because I'm still that kid, and you do something wrong. Your parent doesn't stop loving you, and you go and say, hey, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. They throw their arms around you and they keep doing what they always do, and that's love you. And it's the same thing with God. He knows that we're human. He knows that we're going to do some wrong stuff. That's not his problem. His problem is we're out here all willy-nilly doing some mess, and we acting like it's okay, but yet we want to say that we're a man or woman of God. That's where it's a problem for God. Don't throw his name on your mess and then try to act like it's okay. It's not. Absolutely not. You're out here talking about people gossiping. Don't say, me being a woman of God, I'm not gossiping. I'm just sharing. You lying, you gossiping, shut your mouth. You out here lying, telling all this different stuff. Well, I'm a woman of God, and, I'm not lying. I'm just adding to the story. You lying, you wrong. You're wrong. Point blank. And sometimes we just have to come to the point where we realize we are wrong. And that could be the reason why some of our prayers aren't answered. Hezekiah realized, I'm sick. Your prophet just came to me and said, I'm going to die. He wasn't focusing on what he had did wrong. What he was focusing on is, God, I done did some real good stuff for you. And I really want to continue doing some real good stuff for you. Can you please, please, please not kill me? I really want to live, And, some people may laugh. If you've never been in a position to be begging like that, trust me, keep living, you will. My sister and I, we laugh about a story going to Alabama. And when we come back from break, I'll tell you. But I know that God is expecting me to make good on what I promised him. Y'all come back so y'all can hear the story, yeah?
Next month, I'll be hosting my 7-day Bold, Fit, and Fabulous Masterclass. There, I'll be sharing tips and strategies that will allow you to begin taking the step that you need to feel and look bold, fit, and fabulous in and out of the office. Are you ready to reclaim your time? Then visit me at thefitterwoman.com and let's get back to the business of you.
Hey, this is Jewel Tanker from the Jewel Tankard Show on Impact Network every Saturday. Or you can check out me and my family, the Tankards, on Prime Amazon or Chatter Talk Show on Foxo with my girls, Dr. Dee Freeman, Monique, Eilert Mosley, Real Talk Kim, and Holly Carter. And you are watching Rude Rangers TV.
Of Long Island Telecom. We are your cellular superstar. We have the best in no contract cellular on every carrier in the United States. We also do portable MiFi units, home phone service. We could beat your cable company at their own game by providing you very inexpensive TV, and we are a Sirius XM dealer as well. We can create a website for you, give you a special corporate email, and we do credit card processing. 631-833-9679.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hey, love bugs, I'm so glad you came back. And before break, I was talking about the story, my sister and I traveling to Montgomery, Alabama. I had never been on a plane that small. And you fly from JFK to Montgomery, and then, you fly to Georgia, and then you take a plane from Georgia to Montgomery, Alabama. And that plane was small. And the turbulence was crazy. And that thing was shaking. Shake, 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 shaking. And all I could do was say, God, if you get me to Montgomery, Alabama, I promise you, Lord, you won't ever have to worry about me. I know I'm called to preach, I'll preach. Oh God, I know I'm supposed to do this, I'm gonna do it. Lord, 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 please, God, please. I promise you, Lord, I promise you. And my sister is sitting next to me, hollering. I mean, she got tears in her eyes, because literally, the whole plane so small, it hears me. I'm just like, God, please. I promise you, Lord. I know, Lord. I know I've been wrong, but God, please, just get me on this plane. Just get me to Montgomery. I gotta bury my grandfather. God, please. I promise you. I promise you. Now, I wasn't even a speaker then. I wasn't even thinking about speaking. I didn't even know that I had that gift to speak. I had no idea. I knew that I had the calling to preach, but was no way trying to walk in that. I was Moses. If I could get away from that call, I definitely was. And what I'm sitting up here doing right now, talking to you about God. See, God has a funny sense of humor. I wanted to explain to you how you're in situations where you will cry out to God and he will hear you. Well, I'm here today, so you know Montgomery went well. But there's been plenty of times since then, before then and after then, I've had to pray like that. So I totally understood Hezekiah's prayer when he turned towards the wall. God, please, Lord, there's so much more for me to do. I don't want to die. God, please. Now, the same prophet that came to tell him, you know, you better get your stuff together. God said you're going to die. This inflammation, these boils, they're going to kill you. You dead. Now, that prophet left the house after saying that. And before he could get across the courtyard, So put it in modern day times. He walked out your front door, and before he could get to the driveway, God said, tell Hezekiah, in 3 days I'm going to heal him, and I want him to come into the temple. And 3 days later, he was healed. He goes into the temple. Homeboy restores prayer. Homeboy sanctifies the temple. Homeboy brings back praise and worship. So, he was saying to God, look at what I've done. But he was also saying, if you just heal me, if you don't kill me, this is what I'm going to do for you. Some of us don't have our prayers answered because we haven't gone to God in a desperation and just asked him, Lord, please, can you give me? I just don't want to be in this situation. And sometimes it takes longer than we ever can anticipate that God would answer those prayers. And along the way, waiting for an answered prayer, many people will say some stuff to you that will make you angry. It will hurt your feelings. But I say to you, never stop praying. Hit the wall. Hit the wall. Think of Hezekiah, how he turned his back to everything that was in that room, and he hit that wall, and he started praying, he started crying, and he started crying out to God in such a way that he touched the heart of God. Now, those tears weren't those phony tears, because God's not moved by tears, but he's moved by faith. And Hezekiah's faith was so strong that he started reminding God, God, you're going to take my life, but I did this. And God, you're going to take my life, but I did that. And God, don't you remember what I did for you, God? And I want to do more. Don't take my life. Let me live. Please let me live. And if you do, I promise you, I will do better. I will do more than I did before. And God healed him. And Hezekiah immediately made good on those promises. Now, I was praying on that plane. And I didn't immediately make good on those promises. But I pray that along the way, I started fulfilling them and letting God know, I thank you that I got off of that plane in one piece, because I was scared to death. I absolutely was. I just knew that plane was going down. And my sister was laughing so hard, doggone you, Diane. She was laughing so hard, she couldn't even be scared. We got off the plane. She's like, oh my goodness, yeah, that flight was terrible, but I was laughing at you so much. And it only takes an hour to get from Georgia to Montgomery. I was laughing so hard that whole hour. We had landed before I could even be scared, before I could even realize that we were on one of the smallest planes ever. So I'm glad I gave her some entertainment, but I was so scared that I was just promising God everything I thought I could promise him just to make sure I got off that plane. Some of our prayers haven't been answered, and it's our own fault. And the reason why is you could be praying, honestly, for that. But there's things in you that have to change for that prayer to be answered. So you may be saying, I'm hitting that wall, Yvonne, but my prayer isn't being answered. Well, ask God, why hasn't my prayer been answered? Oh, you can't ask God like that. If you have a relationship with God, you can, because God is your father. And if you ask your parents for something, your natural parents, and they don't answer you, you're going to tell me that you don't say to them, well, listen, daddy, mommy, I asked you for, that white shirt and you didn't give me an answer. Why? And they will answer you. Well, you didn't do your chores, or whatever reason they have for not answering you, and you not getting it. Case in point, I've been single now for many, many years. And I've heard so much stuff that people have said to me that have hurt my feelings, that has dissuaded my faith. And it was just ridiculous. Someone said to me, if God was going to bless you with a husband, he wouldn't have waited this long. That's a lie. Because God wasn't waiting this long. God was waiting for me to get into a place where he could bless me. Because if I had a husband before now, I'd be divorced again. And God knew that getting divorced again would kill me. if not physically, definitely emotionally and mentally, and he couldn't use me. God knew there was lessons I needed to learn as a woman to be a good wife. And not just a good wife, to be a godly wife, and to understand what type of wife I needed to be to my husband. And those lessons I have learned, and I'm still learning. God's not going to give you a great blessing and you're not in a place to be a great receiver. Let's say that again. That's right. God's not going to give you a great blessing if you're not going to be a great receiver. Why would your parents give you a Maserati knowing that your driving skills is only good enough for a 1987 Chevy Chevette? That means that you would get that brand new car and totally rip it apart. Because number one, you wouldn't appreciate it. And number two, you wouldn't know what to do with it. So a lot of times, our prayers we feel aren't answered, but they are. It's you. It is you. Our prayers don't always come instantaneously. And a lot of times, God tries you. He will test you to see what's really in your heart, what's really in your mind for him. And that's the important thing. See, now it's not all about, I want someone to help me pay these bills. I want someone to help me raise this child. I want to have more children. Now it's about, I know when I get married, marriage is about ministry. And my ministry will go to the next level when I get married to the man of God, and together we will do ministry together. And ministry doesn't always mean to preach. To minister means to serve. So in some type of serving capacity, my mate that God is going to bless me with, he already has. He's just not in the natural, he's in the spirit. Together we're going to do some great things. But I have to be in a position to receive this great thing. You know, sometimes you get mad at God because he doesn't answer our prayers. I've been there too, really sorrowfully been there, had to repent, you know, and I thank Apostle James Powell, who calls me Mama, because we worked at a job together and both of us was like, deuces, we out of this church thing. We out of this God thing. We gone, we out, we can't take it anymore. And God placed us in each other's life so that we could uplift and gird one another. And so we could get through some of the hardest times in our life was when we worked at that job. That job alone was hell. But some of the hardest times of our life, I mean, my daughter became pregnant, not married. That was not a hard hit for me. It was more a hard hit for her because she wasn't ready and had to get ready real quick. And that was a tough time for her. And being her mom, of course, it was a tough time for me. You know, there was certain things happening in his life. And it seemed like, you know, here we've been praying. That song that says, I've been praying, I've been fasting, I've been serving. And this is what I get. You know, I was supposed to be planning a wedding. And then I'm told I'm planning a baby shower instead because I ain't had the money for two. Okay, you're going to get one or the other. If you get married, then you're just going to get married. And I don't know about the baby shower, but, you know, I didn't have money for both. It was our prayers that kept us along the way. So I say to you, when things happen, hit the wall, pray. When it seems like your prayers aren't answered, then you do introspect and see what's going on with you and ask God to show you. And sometimes even ask him, how do I pray my way through? And you will see that in the end, God's blessings more outweigh the hell that you had to go through. So until next week, love bugs, hugs, smooches, kisses. You know I love you guys. And make sure you come back because every week I love talking to you. So until next time, smooches.